Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Championship Predictions. There's some massive games coming just before the dreaded international break. Let's go for a big like target then. Let's smash 399 likes on this video. Do make sure to subscribe as well. It's free and it really helps if you hit the subscribe button. I'm joined by Sophie. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. It is the business end now, Sophie.
It is, yes. Very serious. The nitty-gritty of it all.
Yeah, it's spicing up at the top and down the bottom.
Yeah.
Let's get straight into the predictions. Remember, a couple of teams are in FA Cup action, so there's 10 Championship games, and we'll start at Bloomfield Road, where Blackpool take on Coventry City. Now, Blackpool did beat Coventry City earlier this season back at the CBS, and now we're going away to Bloomfield Road, which is obviously going to be a fantastic away day. Coventry City are taking nearly 4,000 fans, which is absolutely fantastic. But let's bear in mind Blackpool's brilliant result against QPR. Yes, you can say QPR are terrible at the moment, but to score 6 goals is very impressive, and Blackpool are fighting for their lives, and who knows, could they escape this season?
Honestly, well, they could.
Yeah.
After that result, 6-1 against QPR. I know they're at home, but still.
Yeah, we'll give them a lot of confidence coming into this one, but bear in mind, Coventry City, 8 games unbeaten, but I do think the recent draws are starting to kill our chances. Yes, Coventry City still have a chance. We probably need to win this one realistically, but I feel like there'll be a lot of positivity with Blackpool having just picked up a massive win, and they'll be fighting for their lives. But then, like I say, Coventry are unbeaten in 8, so I'm going to sit on the fence and be boring, but I'm going to say it's going to be really entertaining. 2-2.
Yeah, if I was a neutral, I'd say this is probably going to be a draw. But I'm not. I'm a City fan, and I'm going to be biased, and I'm going to back us to win, and I hope we do, because, again, I'm going to be there, so it needs to be a good performance. I'll back us to win 2-1, but I don't see it happening.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're going for that, but you don't see it happening?
Yeah, I think it'll be a draw, but I've just got to back the boys, so 2-1.
There you go. Right, let's move on to the next game. We have Middlesbrough, who take on Preston North End. Now, Middlesbrough, they dropped points to Stoke City, and they'll have seen Sheffield United beat Sunderland, so the gap is now back to 6 points. So they can win this and close the gap, because Sheffield United don't play in the Championship this weekend because of their FA Cup action. But Preston North End are an obstacle. They've been improving. They're actually not too far away from the playoffs. So I think this could be a really interesting game. I think it could be tight, but I will just back Middlesbrough to get back to winning ways. I'm going to go for Borough to win this game 2-1.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you there. I'm going to say 2-1 as well. I think Preston have been playing good football. They've been getting some good results recently. Borough, they really need the points if they want the automatics. As you say, there's a little bit of a gap still there, and they need to close that down. So they really need the points. And I think it's going to be a tight game, but I do see them edging it. So 2-1. 2-1.
Okay, on we go down to the Den. It's Millwall taking on Huddersfield Town. I backed Millwall and got their last couple of results spot on for the last couple of weeks. I did back them to beat Swansea City 2-1, and they did that. And obviously before they beat Reading 1-0, which is what I called as well. So can I get Millwall correct again? I think I'm going to back them to win. Huddersfield Town, brilliant result to pick up a point against Norwich, but you look at it, they didn't actually have a shot on target. The goal was a bit of a weird one. I mean, Waghorn lobbed the keeper, but it came back off the post and went in off Grant Hanley. It's a great point and something to build on, and I think Neil Warnock has made this Huddersfield team tight, and he's trying to grind out as many points as he can, but I don't think they've got enough firepower to go and score and win at Millwall, so I'm going to go for Millwall to go back to 1-0 wins.
I think Millwall, but a little bit more comfortable. Huddersfield, they're not looking very good. I know they just picked up a point against Norwich, and that's a great point as well. I don't see them getting anything from this though, so Millwall win 2-0.
You go Millwall 2-0. Do Millwall make the playoffs?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they look very good.
I think they've got enough about them to make playoffs,
yeah. I backed them from the start of the season. Millwall fans, share us your thoughts. Let's move on to what could be a bit of a weird one. QPR versus Birmingham City, both coming into this on heavy defeats in midweek, albeit Birmingham losing 3-0 at Watford. You could maybe say it was slightly more expected than QPR losing 6-1 at Blackpool. QPR's bad run does stretch back a bit further. Yes, they did beat Watford the previous weekend, but you'd put that to the side with these lots of losses, and I'm just struggling to back a QPR win here, and even for them to get a goal or two. But I don't feel like I could just go for Birmingham City because QPR have been that bad. Birmingham, although they beat Rotherham a week or so ago, they've not filled me with a lot of confidence. I think these are two teams that are going to be all right this season, but they're going to crawl over the line. I'm going to go for a really dull 0-0.
Yeah, I'm going to back a draw as well. However, I see there being just 1 goal apiece. So I'm going to say 1-1. I think if any team would edge it for me, it'd be Blues, just because of how bad QPR were midweek and kind of how bad they've been majority of the season, to be honest. But again, Blues haven't been at their best either. So for me, it's a share of scores 1-1.
Share the scores 1-1. Okay, we'll move on to Reading, who take on Hull City. Both sides lost on their midweek games. Hull City lost at home to Burnley. There's no disgrace in that. They lost 3-1 there. Meanwhile, Reading, they lost to Blackburn, but they did give it a go, but they conceded with 10 minutes to go. Then they got a red card, and it's a few defeats on the spin for Reading. You just think this season's ending really poorly, and obviously, presuming they don't get a points deduction, I think they're just going to slump to a quite low finish, but still be all right because of the start to the season they had. I'm going to go for Hull. Hull, who have been improving under Rosenior. Yes, they lost to Burnley, but they did get a draw against Coventry. I think they'll get an away win here. I'm going to go 1-0 to the Tigers.
Yeah, I'm going to back an away win as well. However, I'm going to say 2-0 to the Tigers. I think when Hull play well, and they have been at times this season, we've seen them play some alright football. Reading, again, another team that's quite inconsistent, so I don't see them getting anything. I know they're the home team, but I don't see them getting anything from this, so 2-0. 2-0,
oh wow. This is a big one, so two teams just above that bottom three, Rotherham United and Cardiff City. Rotherham lost in midweek to Preston North End, and they lost at home, whereas, we fancy them to do a bit better usually. Cardiff City, meanwhile, they picked up a valuable point against West Bromwich Albion at home, and I think Cardiff are going to be okay. I think Rotherham should be okay, but if either of these go on a bad little run now, they could get sucked in because they'll have seen Blackpool's win, they'll have seen Wigan picked up a point. There's the possibility one of those teams in the bottom three could climb up, and you don't want to be that team that they suck in. I'm tempted to go for a draw, but I won't be boring. I'm actually going to back Cardiff to grind out a 1-0 win.
Okay, well, I'm going to be boring. I'm going to back a draw here. So I think both teams are going to be all right, to be honest. They've got enough quality to stay up for me. More so Cardiff. I think Cardiff have put together an all right run, and I can see why you're edging them. 1-1. 1-1.
Okay. On we go to Stoke City versus Norwich City. Stoke continue to impress. I mean, they picked up 2 brilliant results, and then they get a draw at Middlesbrough, who've literally been beating everyone at the moment. So you wonder where this run's come from, because teams that are mid-table at this point of the season don't really have all too much to play for, but they're really putting a good run together. And if they win every game, who knows? Maybe top 6 is still alive, but I don't know about that. But I do think I'm actually going to back them. I feel like I need to put a little bit of respect on Stoke's name. Norwich, they're right on the edges of the playoffs, but they did drop points against Huddersfield, and Stoke are a better team than Huddersfield, so I'm going to go for Stoke to win 2-1.
Yeah, I could actually see this going either way, because Norwich have got a really good team, and putting like their last result to one side, it did look like they were starting to put a good run of form together. Talking of good run of form, Stoke. And I agree with what you're saying about putting some more respect on their name, because I've been disrespecting them in recent weeks and they've been proving me wrong. So not this week. 1-0 to Stoke for me.
Yeah, both back in Stoke there. On we go to the Stadium of Light. It's Sunderland versus Luton Town. Now, if you go back 5-6 weeks, these two are really close in the table, but Luton Town have pulled away. They're really flying, and Sunderland have fallen down the table a little bit. Luton Town, I would not rule out of the top 2 conversation. If people are going to say Middlesbrough can make the top 2, then they might as well say Luton might, because they're really not that far behind Middlesbrough. And they just find a way to win, don't they? They sometimes aren't even the best team to watch, but they'll just win 1-0 or 2-1 or something, and they're very efficient. I like Luton Town. Sunderland are a tricky one. I know they've been dropping off a little bit under Tony Mowbray, but they did get that win against Norwich. I know they've just lost to Sheffield United, but I feel like they might be competitive and maybe get a draw. I'll say Sunderland 1, Luton 1.
No, I'm going to back Luton to win. They're absolutely flying. They're a very, very physical side. I remember watching them at the CBS and thinking, bloody hell, I don't think they've got a single player under 6 foot. They're massive. And I agree, they don't sometimes play the best football, but it doesn't matter. It's a results game, and they're getting the results. I will say that Sunderland aren't an easy team to come up against, especially with them being the home side and that home crowd. But I've just got to back the Hatters here. So 2-1 to Luton.
2-1 to Luton. Wow, massive result that. 2 games left. We'll go on to Vicarage Road, where Watford take on Wigan Athletic. Now, we did get to see Wigan against Coventry, Sophie, and I thought they played quite well. They didn't look like a team, that was bottom, by any margin. And I think the frustrating thing from their point of view will be they created good chances, they just could not take them, and we had to give them a helping hand with the goal from Mukfadzine. Watford, meanwhile, good win, and maybe, just maybe, Chris Wilder can push Watford towards the top 6. A 3-0 win against Birmingham, and I do fancy Watford to win here. They've just got players that are more clinical, so I'm going to go Watford 2-0.
Yeah, so watching Wigan on Tuesday night, I agree, they didn't look like a team that were fighting relegation. They actually came at us, and I think if they had more clinical finishers, they should have been 2-0 up in the first half, and it's a much more comfortable game for them. Coming up against Watford, I think if they play like that again, it's going to be a good game. However, I think a couple of their mistakes will get punished a lot more by Watford, and I'm going to agree with you. I think Chris Wilder picks up another 3 points here. 2-1.
2-1. Okay, we're going to score.
Yeah.
The final game is on the Sunday. It's Swansea City versus Bristol City. Kind of struggling with this one, to be honest. Bristol City had a really good start to the new year, and it looked as if they could have an outside chance of the top 6. I don't see that happening now. I don't see Swansea getting anywhere near the top 6 either. I have actually correctly got their last 2 results spot on. The 3-1 defeat to Middlesbrough and the 2-1 defeat to Millwall. I did call those.
So just backing them to lose is working well for you.
But no, I'm going to change it up. I think this game could go either way because neither team's in great form. I think Bristol City might be made slight favourites, I'm not sure, but I'm actually going to back Swansea to win on this occasion. I feel like Swansea need to because they're poor run of form, and Russell Martin's got a lot of pressure there to turn things around. 1-0 Swansea.
Yeah, I think they need the points, however, I just don't see them doing it. I think Bristol City win this for me. I do see them scoring and it being a relatively tight game, but I think Bristol City will get it over the line, so 2-1.
2-1 to the Robins. There you go, guys. That wraps up our Championship predictions. Do make sure to look out for the FA Cup predictions coming tomorrow. Do, of course, make sure to hit that like button as we go for 399 likes. Do make sure to subscribe. Thank you for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.